Dear students, in this session we are going to see the form validation. How we can perform form validation using JavaScript. Let us start the session with form validation. Let us see the JavaScript form validation. HTML form validation can be done by JavaScript. We know that JavaScript is a scripting language which will work on the client side. So this HTML form validation can be performed by the scripting language JavaScript. If a form field fname is empty, this function pre-alerts a message and returns false to prevent the form from being submitted. So sometimes while we are doing a registration form, if we are not filling a particular field in the corresponding form, while we are submitting the form, there will be an alert message. Please fill the corresponding last name. It must be a mandatory field. Likewise, some alert messages will be happen. All these things can be performed using JavaScript. So here there is a JavaScript example for doing the validation of fname field. Actually, fname is a field in a form that is in the corresponding HTML page. Here the function is function validate form. So the name of the function is validate form. So it is having a variable x. Variable x is equal to document.forms of my form fname.value. So here the thing is that we are having an HTML web page. In the HTML web page we are having a form. The name of the form is my form. My form is having an input control. The name of that input control is fname. Clear? My form is the name of form and fname is a control in the corresponding my form. So what we are going to do is document dot forms of my form fname dot value. Here it means that we are trying to access the data from my form's fname field. So what the user input is retrieved to the variable x. If x is equal to null value, if x is equal to empty string, an alert box will be produced. Name must be filled out. Return false. So what is happening here it is the corresponding JavaScript is trying to access the value from fname field which is in the my form. That value is stored in x. If x is having null value, an alert message will be generated with the message name must be filled out. This is a simple example for JavaScript function validation. Here the exact example is here. Here we are having the doc type HTML. HTML tag is a head tag is a script tag is a script tag contains a function called validate form. Then variable x is equal to document.forms of my form fname.value. Then if x is equal to null value, alert name must be filled out, return false. Then if close is closed, function is closed, script is closed, head is closed. Then in the body, a form is created. Name of the form is my form. Action is equal to action underscore page underscore post.php. On submit is equal to return validate form. Method is equal to post. So here in the body of the corresponding HTML web page, a form is created. The name of the form is my form. Action to be performed. That is whenever I click or whenever the submit button of the corresponding form is clicked, the data will be moved to the action page. This is the target. So it will be a target of the corresponding form is action underscore page underscore post.php. Then on submit, while the submit button is pressed, return validate form function will work. Return validate form function will work. Actually, validate form is a function which is defined in the script. Then method is equal to post. The data transfer method here it is using is post method. So the name, a label is their name, input name, input type is equal to text, name is equal to fname. So a text box is there, the name of the text box is fname, input type is equal to submit, value is equal to submit. A submit button is there, form is closed, body is closed and HTML is closed. So whenever this particular web page is loaded, we are having a label name with a text field for inputting the name. The name of that text box is fname and we are having a submit button. So whenever the user clicks the submit button, what happens is the corresponding validate form function will work in the JavaScript. This is the validate form function in the JavaScript. Here the first statement is that using the forms function, it is trying to access the value from fname of the myform. So myform is the form name here and fname is the component name. So the document.forms method is trying to access the value of fname. If the user is inputting any value, that value is stored in X. Suppose if the user inputs XYZ, that value will be retrieved and stored in X variable. So if X is equal to a comparison is happened, X is equal to XYZ. So if X is equal to XYZ, what happens is, if XYZ is equal to null value, it's not null value. So it will, this function will return a true value. So the action will be happened. Once again, I explain the same thing. If user is inputting a value like ABC, if user is inputting a value like ABC and click the submit button, what happens is the corresponding validate form function will work. So in the validate function, the corresponding function is trying to access the value in fname text box. Suppose the value is ABC. So this ABC is stored in variable X. Checking ABC with null string, it is this comparison is false. So what happens is it will return a true value back to the corresponding submit. So on submit, event handler will having a true value. So what happens is action will be happen. So the data will be moved to the charted location action underscore page underscore post.php using the post method. If the user is inputting nothing or no value is inputted in the corresponding text field, simply clicking the submit button, what happens is the validate form function will work. Then the script is trying to access the data from the fname. If the fname is having null value, that null value is stored in X. If null value is compared with null value, it is true, so an alert box will be generated. Name must be filled out and return false. Return false means on submit, here the value is false. So what happens is action will not performed. So the user is getting an alert box and it will be remain, the focus will be remain on the same web page. So this is just an example for form validation related to a single text field. Automatic HTML form validation. HTML form validation can be performed automatically by the browser. In the previous example, we see that we seen that the corresponding form validation is done through script language, but HTML form validation can be automatically performed by the browser itself in some cases. If the form field fname is empty, the required attribute prevents this form from being submitted. So here there is an example. So here the HTML is there, body tag is there, form action is equal to action underscore page underscore post dot php. Then method is equal to post, here the same thing, name type is equal to text, name is equal to fname, and another attribute is specified required. So this required indicates the browser that, or it gives a warning or it gives a message to the corresponding browser that there will be some value, there must be a value in the corresponding fname field. Then only the form submission will work. Otherwise, it will generate an error message. So if required attribute is specified in the input attribute or input tag, if required attribute is specified in the input tag, such type of fields are strictly, or such type of elements are strictly having a value during submission. Otherwise, it will generate an error message. So here, so if required attribute is inside the HTML coding, the browser should validate the form itself. So here input type is equal to text, name is equal to airframe required. Input type is equal to submit, value is equal to submit, form is closed. Then a paragraph is there. If you click submit without filling out the text field, your browser will display an error message. A paragraph with this particular text is there, body is closed and HTML is closed. Now we see the data validation concept. Data validation means it's a process of ensuring that user input is clean, correct, and useful. So validation is a process of checking the data whether the user input is correct, whether it is having a good format, and it is a useful data. So typical validation tasks are: has the user filled in all required fields? We can use the validation function for checking whether all the required fields are filled or not. Or we can check, has the user entered a valid date? We can check whether the user inputting date is a previous date or it will be a future date, something like that. We can check the validity of the date. Then has the user entered text in a numeric field? For example, if a field like age should be expressed in terms of numbers, or a phone number, it should be expressed in number. If user inputting some other characters, it will generate this type of validation function can generate an error, or it can generate an alert box for making the user alert about while entering the data. So this type of validation task can be performed using JavaScript. Most often the purpose of data validation is to ensure correct user input. Validation can be defined by many different methods and deployed in many different ways. So this type of validation can be defined by different methods as well as it can be deployed in different ways. Server-side validation is performed by a web server after input has been sent to the server. We can use this validation functions on the server side, but that will be happened only after transferring the data from front end to the back end. So if you are clearing the data on the front end itself, it should be much more easy for the server to process the corresponding data. Client-side validation is performed by a web browser before input is sent to the web server. So we can avoid this unnecessary data transfer from client to server if validation is happened on the client side. So it is better to perform this type of validations on the client side. For doing this type of validations on the client side, we have to use the JavaScript functions. Now we can see the HTML constraint validation. HTML5 introduced new HTML validation concept called constraint validation. HTML constraint validation is based on constraint validation HTML input attributes, constraint validation CSS pseudo selectors, constraint validation DOM properties and methods. We will see what all are the functions in the corresponding constraint validation. Constraint validation HTML input attributes. These are the attributes and its description. Disabled specifies that the input element should be disabled. So it is whenever we are giving disabled is equal to false, or it should be given an enable format, then only user can make a change in the corresponding field. Max specifies the maximum value of an input element. Min specifies the minimum value of an input element. Pattern specifies the value pattern of an input element. Required specifies that the input field requires an element. Type specifies the type of an input element. So disabled means user is not having any permission to enter data. Then max means generating the maximum value, specifying the minimum value, then specifies the value pattern. Then required means it's a compulsory field. Type, it specifies the type of input element. Now constraint validation CSS pseudo selectors. In the previous slide we discussed about the HTML attributes. Here it is pseudo selectors. Colon disabled. Disabled. It select input elements with the disabled attribute specified. Invalid. Select input elements with invalid values. Optional. Select input elements with no required attribute specified. Required. Select input elements with required attributes specified. Valid. Select input elements with valid values. We can also specify this type of validations in the CSS section also, like using this disabled, invalid, optional, required, valid selectors. So here optional and required are just opposite of each other. Optional means select input elements with no required attributes specified, and required means select input elements with required attributes specified. Now we can see the constraint validation DOM methods. Check validity is a method. It returns true if the input element contains valid data. Set custom validity is another method which sets the validation message property of an input element. So these are two main methods which are related to constraint validation DOM. Now we can see this example. Doc type is equal to HTML, then body of the HTML. P, enter a number and click OK. So a paragraph is started with text, enter a number and click OK. Then input ID is equal to ID1, type is equal to number, minimum is equal to 100, maximum is equal to 300, required. So input input number field is created with minimum value 100 and maximum value 300. So a text field, it is similar. Input type number means it is a similar, it produces a look which is similar as that of a text box. But the thing is that we can only enter numbers to that particular text box, where this particular text box can accept only numbers within a range 100 to 300, and it is a required field. Then a button is there. Button on click is equal to my function. OK, then button is closed. So a button is there with text OK. Then another paragraph is there. If the number is less than 100 or greater than 300, an error message will be displayed. Then PID demo, it is nothing having that particular paragraph. Then after the corresponding paragraph, a script is opened. The script contains a function called my function. Variable input object is equal to document.get element by ID ID1. So here what happens is, in the script, it is trying to retrieve the data from ID1. Get element by ID of ID1. So ID1 is this particular input type number field. So what all data is entered in the corresponding field, that will be stored in input object. If input object dot check validity is equal to false. If it is false means it returns, check validity will be returned true if input element contains valid data. So if the corresponding field is having a value which is between 100 and 300, it is having a true value. Otherwise, it is having a false value. If it is having, if the inputted value is between 100 and 300, it the corresponding condition is wrong. So it will move to the else part. and it will produces a text message input OK in the corresponding demo ID field. Document.getElement by ID of demo.innerHTML. Actually, demo is a paragraph in the last paragraph is specified by the ID demo. So for this particular paragraph, the text is input OK. If the user inputs a value between 100 and 300. Otherwise, what happens is the data will be retrieved and that data is stored in the input object. If input object or check validity is equal to false, that is this condition is true. So the corresponding statement is document.getElement by ID demo.innerHTML is equal to input object dot validation message. So a corresponding validation message will be generated by the corresponding browser itself, and that validation message will be kept in the demo ID. That is this particular paragraph. We will see what should be the output of the corresponding program. This is the output. If we are entering a number like this, so it is clearly specified that the minimum is 100 and maximum is 300 for this particular field. So the text appearance will be like this. Initially, this much data is there. Enter a number and click OK. A field to input the data. Then OK button is there and this text message is there. If the number is less than 100 or greater than 300, an error message will be displayed. I am entering the value 10 and press OK. It will generate a validation message like this. Value must be greater than or equal to 100. This message is generated by the script code itself. It's generated by the script as well as the browser function itself, because we are simply calling the validation message. We are using the number field as well as we already set it as a required field. At the same time, we set the minimum value and maximum value. So this is generated by the corresponding. This validation message is generated by the browser itself. Now, if you are inputting a correct value like 150, if we input a value between 100 and 300, what happens is pressing OK, it will generate a message like this, input OK. So this is one type of validation that is available. Now we see some more constraint validation now, DOM properties. Validity property is there. It contains Boolean properties related to the validity of an input element. So it contains a Boolean properties. That means it will produce a true value or false value. Then validation message, it contains a message a browser will display when the validity is false. If it checks the validity of a particular field and it gives the idea that the validation is false, then the browser itself will produces a validation message that can be accessed using this method, validation method. In the previous example, we see the corresponding validation message if the user is inputting an incorrect value. If user is inputting an incorrect value, the corresponding validation message will be generated by the browser itself. Then will validate property, it indicates if an input element will be validated. Will validate is a method which indicates the input element will be, if a input element will be validated or not. Now we can see some more the validity properties. The validity property of an input element contains a number of properties relative to the validity of the data. We will see some of the validative properties. Custom error. It sets to true if the custom validity message is set. Then pattern mismatch. It sets to true if the element's value does not match its pattern attribute. Then range overflow. It sets to true if an element's value is greater than its maximum attribute. That is overflow. If the value is greater than its maximum value, then it can be specified by the property range overflow. Then range underflow, it sets to true if an element value is less than its minimum attribute. That's underflow. If the value is less than minimum attribute, then it can be termed as underflow. Then step mismatch, it sets to true if an element's value is invalid for its step attribute. Then too long, it sets to true if an element's value exceeds its maximum length attribute. Too long. Then type mismatch. It sets to true if an element's value is invalid for its type attribute. Then value missing. It sets to true if an element has no value. Then valid. It sets to true if element's value is valid. So these are some of the validity properties which is used to check the validity of the data. Now you can see an example. If the number in an input field is greater than 100, that is input's maximum attribute, it would display a message. And here in this particular example, we are using the range overflow property. We'll have a look at the corresponding code. Here an HTML tag is open. Inside the body, a paragraph is defined. Enter a number and click OK. Then there will be an input element. The type is equal to number and minimum is equal to 100. So input field is created, which is used to enter the number. And here the type is number. So this particular text field can accept numbers only. Then a button is here. On click is equal to my function. Button's on click function. Whenever this particular button is clicked, it will call the my function in the JavaScript. Then the text appeared on the button is OK. Then a paragraph is defined. If the number is less than 100, the input's minimum attribute and error message will be displayed. That paragraph is closed. Then another paragraph, field id equal to demo slash p. So in this particular paragraph, there will be no content. Then after the paragraph definition, script tag is open, which contains a function called my function. So this my function, it initially have a variable txt is equal to null value. If document.get element by id1 dot validity dot range underflow. So here the thing is that it is trying to access the data using the id 1. Using the get element by id method, it is trying to access the content from id 1 dot validity dot range underflow. Here in id1 is the corresponding input type number which is specified with minimum value 100. So it will check the value in the corresponding id1, user inputted value in the box id1 using the validity dot under range underflow function. So this range underflow will check the value in the corresponding field. If the value is less than the specified minimum value, it will produces a true value. Then the corresponding txt will work. That means its condition is true. So the text variable is having the value too low. Otherwise, the text input is having input OK. So document.get element by id. After the if statement, it is having one more statement in the corresponding function. Document.get element by id demo.inner html is equal to txt. So we want to place this txt value in the corresponding paragraph. So what happens here, it is at the initial time we are loading the corresponding web page. We are having a note like enter a number and click OK. And after that, we are having a text field for inputting the number and a button is there with text OK. Then after the button, there will be a sentence like this. If the number is less than 100, the error message will be displayed. So whenever the user inputs a particular number like 150 and press OK, what happens is after this particular line on the web page, it will display input OK live. Otherwise, what happens is if the user is inputting a value which is less than 100, what happens is whenever this button is clicked, my function will be called. So inside the my function, it will check the value and it identifies that the range underflow function will produces a true value. So the text will take the content, txt variable will take the content value too low, and that thing should be displayed in the corresponding paragraph with id demo. Value too low. So this is the just example for range overflow property. Now we can see range underflow property. Range underflow means just opposite as that of range overflow. Here there is a correction, range overflow property. On the previous slide we discussed about range underflow. So here in this example we are going to see the range overflow function. If the input in an if the number in an input field is less than 100, it display a message with range underflow property. So if the number in an input field is greater than a specified number, it will display a message called range overflow property. We are having this example, then it will be clear. Here HTML body, then enter a number and click OK. The same example, then there will be a coefficient. Input ID is equal to ID1, type is equal to number, max is equal to 300. Then button on click is equal to my function, OK button. Then P, if the number is greater than 300, an error message will be displayed. Then another P with ID demo, and nothing is specified here. So the body. So if this particular HTML page is loaded, it contains a text like enter a number and click OK. Then it will be having an input field for inputting a number there that where that input field maximum value is set to 300. Then a button is there with text value OK. So whenever that button is clicked, my function will be called. Then under that button, we are having a statement like this: if the number is greater than 300, an error message will be displayed. So whenever the user is inputting a value in the corresponding field, if the value is less than 300 and click the OK button, what happens is the function my function will work. So variable txt is a null string. If document.getElement by id id1 dot validity dot range overflow. So range overflow means if the value is exceeding the value specified, exceeding the maximum value specified by the field, it will produce as a true value. Currently, if the user is inputting a value which is less than 300, like 100, then what happens here it is this condition will produces a false value. So it will give the message input OK. So that message will be displayed in the paragraph PID demo. Otherwise, what happens if the number is greater than 300? Suppose the user enters a number 500 and click the OK button. What happens here it is the my function will be called document.getElement by id1 is the id of this particular input field dot validity dot range overflow. So what happens is it will check the value in the corresponding text field. Suppose it is 500 it is greater than the 300 value, so range overflow will produces a true value. Then what happens is this if condition, the condition is true, so the if part will work, txt will be equal to value too big. So the content in the txt is value too big. Then what happens is after the if statement there will be another statement document.getElement by id of demo.innerHTML. Using the inner HTML property, we are trying to fix txt, the content in txt to the demo id. Here demo id is specified for this particular paragraph. So this particular paragraph contains a text called value too big. So after this particular line, the web page will produces a new line called value too big. This is the idea. This is the example which shows range overflow function. But most of the browsers did not support this range underflow and range overflow functionalities. Most of the browsers are not compatible with all the functions that are available in JavaScript. That is one of the important thing that we have to remember. Now we see the data validation. When a user fills in a form when a user fills in a form input element incorrectly and JavaScript event handler function detects the error, the function should do several things. Suppose if the user is specifying an incorrect data in a particular form and the JavaScript event handler detect that particular error, what the JavaScript function should do is it will do some several things. It produces an alert message indicating the error and specify the correct format of the input. Suppose the user is inputting text value in a number field. What the JavaScript do is it will produces an alert message where the correct format which indicates the correct format of the input. Then another thing is that it should cause the input element to be put in focus which positions the cursor in the element. If such an error occurs, what happens is it will produces an alert message. At the same time, it will make the focus towards the incorrectly placed input element. So if you want to place the focus in the corresponding input element, we have to use the focus method. And this is done with the focus method, which must be called through the DOM address of the element. Here we are having an example. The element's ID is font. The element can be put in focus. Document.get element by ID font.focus. So here what happens is using the get element by ID function, we are trying to access the corresponding input component and dot focus. So what happens? Dot focus puts the cursor in the corresponding font text box. So this puts the cursor in the font text box. So focus function is used to make focus towards a particular element. The function should select the element which highlights the text in the element, and this is done with select method. So if you want to select the element which highlights the text with the corresponding element, that can be done through the select method. Document.get element by ID form.select. Suppose if a user inputs an incorrect data, an alert message is specified, and if you want to change or if you want to make the corresponding content selection or incorrectly specified data selection, we have to use the select method. And if you want to make it again focus towards a particular input element, we have to use the focus method. If an event handler returns false, that tells the browser not to perform any default actions of the event. So if the event handler is returning a false value towards the browser, so it gives the browser a warning that browser does not perform any default actions for the corresponding event. For example, if the event is a click on the submit button, the default action is to submit the form data to the server for processing. If the event handler returns false, the bad data is now sent to the corresponding server. So if the event handler is producing a false value means the actions which is related to the event does not happen. Now we are having an example. Inside the example, we are trying to check the password. So it's password underscore check.js, an example of input password checking using submit event handler function. So here the name of the function is check pwd. Here we are having an initial variable init is equal to document.get element by id initial. Variable second is equal to document.get element by id second. So the idea here we are using the idea is that we are having two fields. First field is used for inputting the password and second field is used for the confirmation of password. Again we have to re-enter the password for confirmation. If the value in both the text field mismatches, it will produces an alert message like please enter the correct password, or the two passwords are not same, like messages will be generated. If init, so here the first element's data is kept in init and second element's data is kept in second variable. If init dot value is equal to null value, first of all we are going to check whether any value in the corresponding initial text box. If the initial dot value is equal to an empty string, then it produces an alert message like please enter the password. After that, it makes the focus towards the corresponding initial element using init.focus method. then it will return false because there will be no password. That is why it will be returned false. Otherwise, if the initial element is having some data, it will move to the second if statement. If init dot value not equal to second dot value, if the init dot value not equal to second dot value, that means they are going to compare the data in if variable and second variable. If both are different, it will produce another alert message. The two passwords are not the same. Re-enter. So it will generate a message box like this with a warning message. The two passwords are not the same. Re-enter the passwords. Then init.focus, init.select. So here the focus will be given to the initial text box, and after that init.select. That means the existing content in the corresponding text box is selected, and it will also produces a false value. If the initial value and second value are equal, this function will produce a true value. So this particular function is an example for checking the password that should be entered in two fields. First field is termed as initial and second field is termed as second. Hope you understood the corresponding function. Then register the event handlers for password check. So this is for registering passwords, event handlers for password checking. Document.get element by ID second on blur is equal to check PWD. Then document.get element by ID my phone on submit is equal to check password. If you want to know much more about the corresponding password validation, you have to visit any of the resources like W3C or W3schools.com. So this is about the form validation session. Thank you.